The Texas sun burns hot over the endless plains in 1847, where Thaddeus, Tad, Harper's ranch sits like a lone outpost between Lubbock and nowhere. A man of 34. Tad's no stranger to trouble. Cattle rustlers, draughts, and the uneasy truce with the Comanche tribes keep him sharp. But today something feels off, a prickle at the back of his neck as he hammers a fence post by the creek. That's when he sees her. A small figure stumbling across his land, barely 9 years old, her traditional Comanche clothes torn, her steps faltering with hunger. Most ranchers would grab a rifle, but Tad's different, shaped by loss and a stubborn sense of right. If stories like this speak to you, hit the like button and subscribe. There's more to come. He approaches slowly, hands open, and sees her face. Eyes too big for her thin frame, lips cracked from thirst. She speaks in rapid Comanche, words he doesn't know, but her gestures are clear. She's starving, desperate for water. Tad thinks of the raids, the warnings in town about Chief Iron Hawk's wrath, the smart move to send her away. But those eyes, wide with fear and hope, stop him cold. He scoops her up, light as a bird, and carries her to his cabin. She doesn't fight, too weak to resist. Inside, he sets her in his chair, stirring leftover venison stew and slicing fresh cornbread. The smell rouses her, a flicker of life in her gaze. As she reaches for the bowl, Tad notices a necklace. Intricate beads, patterns he's heard described in town. It belongs to Iron Hawk's family, the fiercest Comanche leader in these parts. His heart skips. This isn't just a child, she's the chief's daughter, and helping her could bring 200 warriors to his door. But she's eating now, her hands trembling, and Tad can't turn back. She's someone's child, he thinks, remembering his own son, lost to cholera 3 years ago. He covers her with a blanket as she falls asleep, exhaustion winning out. Outside, hoofbeats thunder, neighbors, led by Deputy Ben Carver, ride up, their faces grim. Tad, you idiot, Carver shouts, dismounting. Smoke signals in the hills. Iron Hawk's daughter's missing, and her trail leads here. Tad's throat tightens. She's inside, half starved. I couldn't let her die. Reverend Amos steps forward, voice low. You've got no idea the trouble you've stirred, son. Carver nods. I gotta report this, Tad. Get her to her people before they burn this place down. They ride off, leaving Tad alone, the girl's soft breathing filling the cabin. He knows the Comanche are coming, and soon. The air feels heavy, like a storm about to break. He checks his rifle, not to fight, but to buy time. The girl stirs, her eyes meeting his, and he sees gratitude, but also fear. She knows what's coming too. As dusk falls, a distant rhythm echoes. War drums, slow and deliberate, growing louder. Tad's blood runs cold. 200 warriors don't come for a chat. They come for blood. And he's got minutes to figure out how to prove he's not the enemy. The war drums pulse through the Texas night, a steady beat that sets Tad Harper's nerves on edge. Inside his cabin, the Comanche girl sleeps fitfully, her small form curled under his blanket. Tad stands at the window, peering into the darkness, knowing the sound means Iron Hawk's warriors are closing in. He's alone, his rifle no match for 200 men, and the weight of his choice to help the girl presses down hard. The drums aren't chaotic, they're disciplined. A sign of something bigger than a raid. He thinks of his neighbor's warnings, the deputy's urgency, the reverend's fear. They're right. This could end in blood, but turning the girl away was never an option. Her necklace, those sacred beads, marks her as Iron Hawk's only daughter, a truth that makes her both a treasure and a spark for war. Tad paces, his boots soft on the wooden floor, trying to plan. Ride out to find their camp. Suicide. Take her to town. Too far, too risky. The drums grow louder, each beat a countdown. The girl wakes, her eyes wide, recognizing the sound. She speaks rapidly in Comanche, pointing to the door, then herself, her gestures frantic. Tad kneels beside her. I don't understand, little one, but I know they're coming for you. She nods, grabbing his sleeve, her hands counting, 10, 20, up to 200. Tad's stomach drops. 200 warriors, enough to erase his ranch and every settlement nearby. The drums stop, and the silence is worse, heavy with intent. Tad looks out, seeing shadows move. Horses, riders. A semicircle tightening around his cabin. War paint glints in the moonlight, weapons ready. He knows they think he stole her, a white man taking a chief's daughter. The girl tugs him toward the door, her eyes pleading. She wants to go to them, but Tad hesitates. What if they don't believe she came here on her own? What if they see harm where there was only help? A voice cuts through the night, deep, accented, commanding. White man, send out the girl, or you won't see dawn. Tad's heart pounds. That's Iron Hawk, a man who's never lost a fight, whose name alone keeps settlers awake. The girl pulls harder, her face set. Tad takes a breath, knowing there's no hiding now. He opens the door, hands raised, and steps out, the girl close behind. The sight is a nightmare. 200 warriors, their bows drawn, eyes burning with rage. Iron Hawk sits at the center, his presence massive, silver in his hair catching the light. The girl runs to him, calling out in Comanche, but his face doesn't soften. He dismounts, checking her for harm, his movements tense. She points to Tad, gesturing wildly, but Iron Hawk's eyes stay cold. He steps toward Tad, his voice like steel. My daughter says you fed her, sheltered her. Tad nods, his mouth dry. She was starving, sir. I couldn't let a child die. Iron Hawk's gaze sharpens. You knew her beads, her family. Why not bring her to us at once? I plan to, come morning, Tad says. She was too weak to move tonight. The chief's silence is heavy, the warrior's bows still taut. Maybe you meant to trade her, Iron Hawk says, for land, for safety. Tad shakes his head. I wanted nothing but to help her. The warriors stir, some shouting in Comanche, their voices hungry for blood. Tad feels the weight of their anger, knowing one wrong word could end him. The girl tugs her father's arm, her voice rising, and Tad sees a flicker of something in Iron Hawk's eyes. Doubt, maybe, or the start of belief. But the warrior's restlessness grows, and Tad knows this moment could spark a war that burns beyond his ranch. The moonlight casts long shadows across Tad Harper's ranch, where 200 Comanche warriors form a deadly circle, their bows drawn, their silence more threatening than any war cry. Tad stands before Chief Iron Hawk, his hands still raised, the girl clinging to her father's side. Her rapid Comanche fills the air, her small hands gesturing toward Tad, the cabin, the bowl of stew that saved her. But Iron Hawk's face remains a mask of fury, his eyes searching Tad for deceit. The accusation hangs heavy. You knew who she was, yet kept her. Tad's voice is steady, though his heart races. I saw a child in need. Sir, I'd have done the same for anyone. Iron Hawk steps closer, his scars glinting, each one a story of battles won. My people see a white man holding my daughter. They see a thief, not a savior. The warriors shift, some shouting, their anger a spark ready to ignite. One steps forward, his face scarred, his lance pointed at Tad. His voice booms in Comanche. An iron hawk translates, his tone flat. Broken spear demands blood. He says you've dishonored our tribe. Tad's mind races. He thinks of his wife and son, lost to cholera, their faces in the tintype on his table. I know loss too, he says. That's why I helped her. I couldn't let another child suffer. The girl speaks again, her voice fierce now, pulling her father's arm. She points to Tad, miming eating, sleeping, her eyes pleading. Iron Hawk's jaw tightens, but he listens, his gaze flickering between his daughter and Tad. She says you carried her, fed her, gave her your blanket, he says, his voice softer but still wary. Tad nods. I only wanted her safe. The warrior shouts grow louder, broken spear's lance rising higher. He speaks again, his words sharp. An Iron Hawk's face hardens. He says kindness from a white man is a trick, a way to weaken us. Tad feels the air thicken, the warrior's tension a storm about to break. If I wanted to harm her, I wouldn't be standing here, he says, his voice firm. I'd have run, or worse. Iron Hawk studies him, his eyes like knives. The girl tugs again, her voice rising, almost scolding. She points to the cabin, then to Tad, her hands moving fast. Iron Hawk translates, his tone shifting. She says you looked at a picture of your family, your sadness like ours. She says you helped her, because you know what it means to lose. Broken Spear lowers his lance slightly, his face conflicted. The girl keeps talking, her words a torrent. And Tad sees some warriors' faces soften, their bows easing. She's telling them you could have hurt her, Iron Hawk says. But you didn't. You gave her your food, your home. The shouting quiets, but Broken Spear steps closer, his voice low, challenging. Iron Hawk responds, his authority clear, but the warrior's eyes burn with doubt. Tad feels the balance tip, the crowd splitting, some loyal to their chief, others hungry for blood. The girl steps between them, her small frame bold, her voice cutting through the tension. She points to Tad, then her heart, her words fierce. Iron Hawk's eyes widen, a flicker of pride breaking through. She asks if they'd let a child die, he says. She asks what kind of people punish mercy. The warriors fall silent, her words a mirror to their honor. Broken Spear's lance drops, his shoulders sagging. Tad feels hope flicker, but Iron Hawk's gaze is still hard. Your actions saved my daughter, he says. But my warriors came for justice. They need more than words to leave in peace. Tad's throat tightens. What do you need from me? Iron Hawk gestures to the cabin. Show us your heart, white man. Prove her faith in you. Tad nods, knowing this is his only chance. He leads Iron Hawk inside, the girl following, the warriors watching from the dark. The tintype of his family sits on the table, worn from years of grief. Tad picks it up, his voice steady. This is why I helped her. I know what it's like to lose everything. Iron Hawk takes the photo, his fingers tracing the faces, and for the first time, his eyes soften, seeing a man who understands loss as deeply as he does. Inside Tad Harper's cabin, the air is thick with the weight of a moment that could end in peace or blood. Chief Iron Hawk holds the tintype of Tad's lost family. His daughter standing close, her eyes fixed on her father. Outside, 200 Comanche warriors wait, their tension a low hum, their bows still ready. The girl speaks again, her voice steady now, no longer frantic, her words in Comanche flowing like a river. Tad can't understand, but he sees the effect. Warriors at the door lower their weapons. their faces shifting from anger to curiosity. Iron Hawk sets the photo down, his voice low. She says you gave her your only blanket, your food, your chair to sleep in. She says you treated her like your own. Tad nods, his throat tight. I couldn't do anything else, sir. She was a child, alone. The chief's eyes search his, looking for lies, but finding none. The girl tugs her father's arm, pointing to the empty stew bowl, then to Tad, her gestures clear. She's telling her story, defending him. Ironhawk translates, his tone softening. She was lost in a storm, 3 days without food or water. She thought she'd die until you found her by the creek. The warriors at the door murmur, some nodding, others still wary. Broken Spear, the scared warrior, steps inside, his lance lowered but his eyes hard. He speaks, his voice sharp, and Iron Hawk listens, his face unreadable. He says a white man's kindness is a trap, Iron Hawk says. He says you meant to use her to gain favor with us. Tad shakes his head, his voice firm. I wanted nothing from you. I saw a child in need, and I acted. The girl steps forward, her small frame bold, her voice rising in a passionate stream. She points to Tad, then to her heart, her eyes fierce. Iron Hawk's lips twitch, almost a smile. She asks Broken Spear if he'd let his own daughter die to prove a point. She says punishing you would shame our people, make us like the soldiers who kill without question. The warriors outside grow quiet, her words sinking in. Broken Spear's face softens, his lance dropping fully. He speaks, his voice low, almost ashamed. Iron Hawk translates. He says the spirit sent his sister a protector, not an enemy. He says her words carry wisdom beyond her years. The girl runs to Tad, hugging his leg, her voice breaking into broken English. Thank you, save me. Tad kneels, his heart full. You're safe now, little one. Iron Hawk watches, his anger fading, replaced by something like respect. My daughter has turned a war party into a council, he says. But my warriors need assurance your heart is true. Tad stands, meeting the chief's gaze. Come with me. He leads Iron Hawk and the girl outside, pointing to the creek where he found her. She was there, half dead, her clothes caught on my fence. I kept this. He pulls a torn piece of her dress from his pocket, its beads matching her necklace. I wanted you to know she was safe, not stolen. Iron Hawk takes the fabric, his fingers tracing the patterns, recognition clear. The warriors watch, their restlessness easing. The girl speaks again, her voice calm but firm, gesturing to Tad's cabin, then her people. Iron Hawk nods. She says you gave her a home when she had none. She says we should honor that, not destroy it. Broken Spear steps forward, his voice softer now. He speaks, and Iron Hawk translates. He says he was wrong to demand blood. He says your actions speak louder than our fears. The warriors murmur agreement, their bows lowered fully. Iron Hawk looks at Tad, his voice steady. You've proven your heart to my daughter, to me. But my people need more than a story. They need a bond. Tad feels the weight of the moment, knowing his next words could shape the future. What do you propose? Iron Hawk's eyes hold his. Come to our village. Face our elders. Show them what you've shown us. Tad nods, his fear tempered by hope. I'll come, if it means peace. The girl smiles, her hand in his, and Tad knows her courage has saved them both, turning a night of war into a chance for something greater. The Comanche village lies hidden in a canyon, 3 hours from Tad Harper's ranch, its fires flickering like stars against the Texas night. Tad rides beside Chief Iron Hawk, the girl on her father's horse, her small face bright with trust. The warriors follow, no longer a war party, but an escort, their silence a mix of respect and uncertainty. Tad's heart pounds as they enter the camp, greeted by dozens of eyes. Women, children, elders, watching the first white man to step into their sacred space. The council convenes around a central fire, 7 elders seated, their faces carved by years of survival. Tad stands in the center, the girl at his side, her presence his only shield. Ironhawk speaks first, his voice steady, recounting how Tad saved his daughter, Little Star, from starvation. The elders listen, their expressions unreadable. Broken Spear, now subdued, speaks next, admitting his call for blood was hasty. But some elders, their eyes hard, question Tad's motives. Why help a Comanche child? One asks through Ironhawk's translation, when your people take our land. Tad takes a breath, his voice clear. I lost my family to sickness. I saw your daughter alone, and I saw my son in her eyes. I couldn't turn her away. The elders murmur, some nodding, others skeptical. Little Star steps forward, her voice small but fierce, speaking in Comanche for nearly 10 minutes. Tad watches her, awed by her courage. Ironhawk translates, his tone warm. She says you gave her your food, your blanket, your home. She says you're a man of honor, not a thief. The oldest elder, Gray All, asks her one question, his voice raspy. Little Star answers without hesitation, pointing to Tad. Ironhawk's eyes meet Tad's. He asked if she believes you'd save her again, knowing the cost. She said yes, without doubt. The elders confer, their whispers low, the fire crackling. Tad's hands tremble, but he stands tall, Little Star's faith steadying him. Gray All rises, his voice carrying decades of wisdom. Ironhawk translates. The spirits tested us tonight, not for war, but for mercy. You've shown kindness where others would have shown fear. You'll leave here alive. Tad exhales, relief flooding him, but Gray All continues. You'll have our protection. Any Comanche who harms you answers to this council. But there's a condition. Tad nods, ready. Name it. If our people come to you, hungry, wounded, lost, you'll help them as you helped Little Star. I swear it, Tad says, his voice firm. Little Star hugs him, her voice soft. You save me, I save you. The warriors, once poised for blood, now nod in respect. The council ends, and Ironhawk offers Tad a place by the fire, a rare honor. They share a meal, the girl chattering happily, her father's pride clear. As dawn breaks, Tad rides home, escorted by warriors who now call him friend. His ranch, once a target, becomes a neutral ground, a place where Comanche and settlers meet without fear. Months pass, and Tad keeps his promise. A wounded Comanche hunter finds refuge at his cabin, fed and bandaged. A family, displaced by soldiers, shares his fire for a night. Word spreads, and the ranch becomes a bridge, a place of trust. Little Star visits, bringing gifts of woven blankets, her smile bright. Tad teaches her a few English words, and she teaches him Comanche phrases, their bond a quiet testament to peace. Neighbors like Deputy Ben Carver, once wary, now see the change, some joining Tad in welcoming Comanche traders. The tension that once gripped the plains eases, not fully but enough. Tad's heart heals too, the pain of his lost family softened by this new purpose. He sits on his porch, watching the horizon, knowing he's part of something bigger. A fragile peace, built on one act of kindness, growing stronger with every visitor. Years have passed since that moonlit night when Tad Harper faced 200 Comanche warriors, and his ranch has become a beacon in the Texas plains. Now 40, Tad moves through his days with purpose. his cabin a hub where Comanche and settlers trade, talk, and sometimes share a meal. Little Star, no longer the frail girl he saved, is 16, a respected voice in her tribe, her English fluent from years of visits. She arrives one spring evening, her horse laden with gifts, beaded moccasins, a woven blanket, her smile bright. "Tad, you made this place home for all of us," she says, her voice warm. He shakes his head, his graying hair catching the light. "You did that, Little Star. You spoke when I couldn't. The ranch thrives, not with wealth, but with meaning." Comanche families stop by, bringing furs to trade, their children playing in the yard where Tad once feared a massacre. Settlers, too, come, some skeptical, others curious, learning to see their neighbors not as enemies, but as people. Deputy Ben Carver, now sheriff, patrols the area ensuring peace holds. Reverend Amos holds services on the porch, his sermons about mercy drawing mixed crowds. Tad keeps his promise to the elders, feeding the hungry, sheltering the lost. A Comanche elder, injured in a fall, stays a week, teaching Tad stories of the stars. A settler family, fleeing a flood, finds warmth by his fire. Each act strengthens the bond, proving kindness can outlast fear. Little Star, now a translator, bridges the two worlds, negotiating trades, settling disputes. She tells Tad of her tribe's changes. Less raiding, more trading, a fragile trust growing. "You started this," she says, sitting by the creek where he found her. "Your heart changed ours." Tad looks at the water, remembering her frail form, his own grief. "I just saw a child," he says. "You saw a future," she replies. That future unfolds across the plains. The ranch becomes a meeting ground, its table set for all. Tad's neighbors, once wary, now help, some offering supplies, others guarding the land when he's away. Iron Hawk visits yearly, his presence a quiet honor. "We were wrong about you," he says once, his voice soft. "You showed us mercy is strength." Tad nods, his throat tight. "I learned it from your daughter." The tintype of his family still sits on his table, joined now by a drawing Little Star made. A Comanche family and a white man, hands clasped. Tad's grief hasn't vanished, but it's softer, woven into a life of purpose. Little Star marries a young warrior, her wedding held at the ranch, Comanche and settlers dancing together under lanterns. Tad stands as her family, his heart full. She names her first son Thaddeus, a tribute that brings tears to his eyes. The plains change too. Skirmishes fade, trade routes grow, and the ranch becomes a story told in both Comanche lodges and settler cabins. Tad grows older, his hair fully gray, but his spirit strong. He teaches Little Star's son to ride, tells him stories of a night when peace won over war. One evening, as he sits on his porch, Little Star joins him, now a leader in her own right. "You changed everything, Tad," she says. He smiles. "We both did." When Tad dies at 73, his ranch is a legacy, neutral ground, a place of peace. Little Star speaks at his funeral, held on the land he loved, attended by both cultures. "He saw me when I was nothing," she says. "He gave us all a home. The ranch lives on, tended by those he helped. A testament to one man's choice to see a child, not an enemy, and a girl's courage to speak for mercy." Tad Harper's ranch lies quiet under a Texas sky, its fields stretching wide, its cabin warm with memories. What began with a starving child and a night of fear became a bridge between worlds, a legacy of peace built on one act of kindness. Little Star, now a leader, carries Tad's lessons, weaving trust where there was once hatred. The ranch stands as a symbol, proof that mercy can outshine fear, that a single choice can ripple across generations. Tad never sought fame or riches, only to do right, and in that, he found purpose. His grief, once a heavy shadow, became the light that guided others home. The Comanche and settlers who gather here share stories, not of war, but of understanding, of a man and a girl who dared to see each other's hearts. Here's to those who choose compassion when it's hardest, who build bridges where walls once stood, and to places like Tad's ranch, where the smallest acts of courage become the greatest legacies, lighting the way for all who follow.